Today's lesson is on indirect measurement, which relates to similar polygons that you did the other day. So looking at this example, the boat sails reach 8 feet above the water. How tall is the cliff? This is actually plenty of information to solve this problem. What we're doing actually is creating a triangle straight down from the cliff's edge, down to the water, out to the boat, well, actually out to this point. And this, even though it doesn't look like it, it creates a right triangle. So if I were to draw it over here, this in fact is what I have. The base of this triangle is 360 feet. The sailboat here actually casts a shadow as well, or it's actually 15 feet away from this object. So they say the sails are, let's see, this is 15 feet. Sails reach 8 feet above the water. And the object we have down here is, in fact, Elmo in the water. At this point, we can go ahead and create our proportion. We need to find the value of x here. So it's going to be x over 360 feet. This is all having to do with the large triangle, with 8 over 15 feet being our second section of the proportion. Cross multiply, let me erase this triangle here, both of these. Cross multiply, 15x 360 feet times 8 equals 2,880. So now we will be able to determine the height of this cliff by dividing by 15. And the height of the cliff is 192 feet. Let's look at a second example. Here we have Tiger Woods is at X, so right here. His caddy is standing at Y. Tiger knows that the water hazard is roughly 30 feet from point A to point B. So I'll go ahead and write that on there. 30 feet. XY is 15 feet. AZ is 90 or 70 feet. And if he wants to clear the water hazard, how far will he have to hit the ball? And you need to graph your answer down here, even though you can't see the graph. Let me see if I can drag this up. There we go. So I need to first create a proportion. And the easiest thing to do is to redraw the triangles. This is triangle ABC, 30 feet for the base, 70 feet for the hypotenuse. He has a right triangle. And triangle, and this is where it gets difficult. This is where you may want to turn your paper. Z, X, and Y. And the reason why I could keep that straight is I was looking at Y, noticing it was a right angle. So there are our corresponding sides. AZ corresponds with XY, or I'm sorry, XZ. AB corresponds with XY, and BZ corresponds with YZ. So I can fill in that information that I'm missing. XY is 15 feet, and I need to know how far Tiger needs to hit it in order to clear the water hazard. From here I can set up a proportion, 70 over 30. This is just one triangle, triangle ABZ, equals x, trying to find this hypotenuse here. Actually, let me use the small a, so it doesn't get confused with the other x. Small a over 15. From here, we'll just cross multiply. 70 times 15 is 1,050. Three times a is just 30a. 30 times a is just 30a. Divide both sides by 30. A equals 35 feet. Now, that's not my final answer because the question is, if he wants to clear the water hazard, how far will he have to hit the ball? So it's going to be the sum of 30 feet, well, scratch that, 35 feet, 35 feet, plus the 70 feet. So he has to hit it actually 105 feet. 70 plus 35 is 105. And if I graph it, I actually need to have an open circle going towards the right. Open because if he hit it exactly 105 feet, it's going to probably strike the edge of the water hazard and roll back in. So he needs to go just beyond 105 feet in order to clear the water hazard. What I'd like you to do right now is go ahead and do the study guide 8.8, the practice problems number 1 and 2. So if you could pause the video at this time, do those problems, and when you're ready, go ahead and turn the video back on. Okay, number 1 for the study guide 8.8 reads, a statue cast a shadow 30 feet long. So here we have a statue, 30 feet. Same person who is 5 feet tall cast a shadow that's 6 feet long. How tall is the statue? Again, we're just creating proportion. X over 30. All this information is coming from this triangle. And 5 over 6. All the information, corresponding sides, coming from this triangle here. 30 times 5 is 150. 6 times x is 6x. I have to divide both sides by 6. X equals 25. So the height of the statue would be 25 feet. The second one, guide wire is attached to the top of a radio tower. That's that wire that keeps it up when there's a strong breeze. Attaches to the ground 40 feet from its base. Okay, that's my really bad triangle. 40 feet from its base. Angelica is 5 feet tall. When she stands so her head touches the guide wire, she is 2 feet from the point where it attaches to the ground. So I'm going to draw a small triangle here. This represents Angelica. She's 5 feet tall, 2 feet from the base, versus the large triangle, 40 feet here, and I'm looking for X. I always encourage, or I'm going to encourage you to redraw the triangles and separate them out. Just makes it easier to work with at that point. Only takes up a little bit of space on your paper, and it's a lot easier to go back and if you made a mistake, see where you made the mistake. Sometimes it's just in the illustration itself. 5 over 2 for my smaller triangle, the Angelica portion. And x over 40 for my large triangle. Cross multiply. It's 200. 2 times x is 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and x will equal 100. All right, hopefully that's enough for you to understand. Homework tonight is going to be on page 363, 8 through 12 even, 13 through 18. At this time, you're going to be working on, instead of starting on homework, you're going to work on page 365, which has to do with trigonometry. Some of those ratios that you'll be working with, you'll see ratio 1, ratio 2, and ratio 3. Those have to do with sine, cosine, and tangent. On your calculator, sine is abbreviated that way, cosine, COS, and tangent, TAN. So go ahead and follow the directions on page 365, but then make the connection as to which of these keys matches up with the ratios on page 365. Have a good weekend.